It's 3 a.m. Someone's at my door, who can it be? Oh my God. It's one of my multiple personalities. It had to be the one who always wants to challenge me and lead a rally in the spree of destruction and calamity. Demanded me to follow him into the woods to meet up with 13 extraterrestrials and Bigfoot. This isn't good. I'd run away if I could, but my other personalities are telling me I should. Go with him, hop in the car, I'm sitting shot. Shortly after, we're stopped by members of the Illuminati. And me to join them for fame and riches galore, but the spotlight's really on them. Attention whores.
And welcome to another edition of Attention Horrors. Oh, yeah. I'm your host of the most, Donald Wood. To my left, Mike Chiara. To my right, Brandon Calvin.
Hey.
Are you like undead macho man?
I hate this. I hate the facade that I put up. It's just me, guys. It's just me. I don't know how many more attention hours we have left, so I'm just going to own it. I'm going to flown it. But yes, I'm very excited. Our friend Carling Bryce said, hey, we need another attention horrors. It's been too long since the last one. I know that you guys had a little bit of a falling out with what the company that was supposed to sponsor you for a few years, give you money. It didn't work, but you know what? I'm going to give you some money to keep it going for at least a little while. So Carling Bryce, thank you. I'm sorry for the delay in releasing this episode, but once we got to March and once they're like Dark Side of the Ring is going to be Benoit, I was like, I gotta watch it before I do it, just in case there's anything that came out, any startling revelations, anything like that. Remember the documentary about Fred Durst, and like by the end of it they caught him like admitting that he murdered that lady, and now he's on trial for killing that woman right now. Yeah, so that's a real thing. We're breaking shit wide open, guys. If you didn't know it by now,
Was that Robert Durst?
What did I say?
You said Fred Durst, like the guy from fucking Limp Bizkit.
I wish. Chris Benoit, guys, he murdered his son and his wife, and then he killed himself, or did he? That's where we'll kind of pick up there. Before we get into Chris Benoit, you guys are very skeptical off the bat, right? Who did it?
Of if he did it?
Yeah. Did he do it?
Like a fucking OJ situation?
Is it? If the Bowflex don't fit, you must acquit.
Yikes.
Holy shit.
It's right around
it fits. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, it does. Right around his throat. Guys, sources today, books. How about Ring of Hell? What's this about? The story of Chris Benoit and the fall of pro wrestling industry by Matthew Randazzo V. It seems like...
I think it's the fifth, brother, not V.
I don't do
so. That's a little bit of a fucking dramatic title and wrong.
I don't do Roman numerals, never have. Chris,
the pro wrestling industry is...
It's still going. It's not doing... It's not... Don't say it's doing good.
Not the best. I didn't say it's thriving.
Chris and Nancy, the true story of the Benoit murder-suicide and pro wrestling's cocktail of death by Irvin Munchnick. Which I looked it up, and he is...
headlines?
I thought it said Urban Munchkin when I fucking read it.
Well, no, what's his name? Munchnick,
Munchnick?
Sam Munchnick, right? From the old Territory days, right?
Yeah, but there was this dude, Phil Munchnick, that used to write for, I don't know if it was the New York Times or some paper, and he would always, like, talk shit on wrestling.
Yeah, yep.
And Bruce Prichard hated him.
Munchnicks are fucking a big fucking pain in the rear end of wrestling for a long time. You Munchnick! Dungeon of Death by Scott Keith, which is
Dungeon of Doom.
Well, Dungeon of Death is really shitting on the Heart Dungeon a little bit there. So that was a rough book to get through. Do not recommend that book. Do not like that book.
Why?
Because I don't feel like it's a fair depiction. I feel like that someone's got a bit of an axe to grind.
Gotcha. Okay.
Chris Jericho's podcast with Nancy Benoit's sister, which was very...
when was that?
I'm going to say 2011. 2013, somewhere in there. It was a while ago.
I didn't know Jericho was doing podcasts though.
Yeah, it's very old.
I don't think he was doing it in 2011. Maybe
2013. It was very old. I'm not sure the exact date of it, but I found it online.
It wasn't recent.
No, it was years ago.
Okay.
I also searched the dregs of the internet, which was a mistake. Dark Side of the Ring.
Oh, he says.
Dark Side of the Ring. I'll say this. Yeah. Definitely some rough porn. Also, I found no porn stories about Chris Benoit after the death. Before that, a lot of people wanted to fuck him. But, not
I'm just glad there wasn't like a porn parody of this.
No.
Jesus.
I definitely don't want to see it. It's more like a smut film kind of thing. I'll say this about Dark Side of the Ring. I didn't think that it was I didn't feel like they were pushing the boundaries of the story very much. You know what I mean? Does that make sense to you? Mike, you watched it. PG, you saw it?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I think that it was tailored in a lot of ways to people that didn't know a lot about the case. I think the fact that we follow wrestling for as long as we have and, know a lot about this case, we didn't learn a whole lot from it. I think that the main things that we learned from it were the interviews with Vicky, the interview with Chavo, and, woman's sister and Chris Benoit's son. Like, that's kind of like what the new content was, and to get, like, their thoughts. I think that's what we didn't really know. But as far as the story itself goes, I think we had all pretty much heard almost all of the information that they gave us.
Yeah, I felt like I didn't learn anything.
I just learned perspectives of people that were close to the situation. That's what I learned.
That's a good
I feel like I learned a couple of things. I didn't know about all the stuff that Nancy Benoit's sister was saying about the relationship early on with Nancy and Kevin Sullivan. I didn't know that Eddie Guerrero died in Chavo Guerrero's arms in the hotel room.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Yeah, I see.
I've read that.
I listened to the Nancy Benoit interview. I remember because that was when Jericho's interview was. I had it subscribed. I don't subscribe anymore. But that was a time where I was like, oh shit, anything that Benoit happened, because it was just so devastating at that time. So you just wanted to lean for anything. So I didn't learn a ton from that. It felt like almost like a beginner's guide to the situation. It really did cover everything, but it didn't really delve. I mean, the interviews were good. Don't get me wrong. I think Jericho's a good orator. I think that fucking Chavo, it's a very unique perspective. Vicky, but truly, I think the podcast, Chris Jericho's podcast with Nancy Benoit's sister, truly was the one that, I learned a lot from that one. Because she was talking about, she's like, this is what the police told us. And she just seemed like there was no agenda with her. She's just like, Chris, I just want to, this is all. You asked me to do this, and I just want to get this on my chest, and I'm done. So she doesn't do interviews and stuff. So let's get into this. So I want to thank local police departments for all their help. JK, they were fucking awful. They asked for money. They asked for money for every report I asked for. Freedom of Information Act means you can ask for it, but they can charge you for it. So there you go. You learn.
The freedom to fucking ask for your money.
Yep, there you go. we learned that from the mysterious disappearances. The guys like.
I've learned that from life.
Yeah, it's true. Everything's about money. Go ahead.
Yep. I think these first two lines are kind of your deal, though.
Well, no, you're going to say them. I did this.
I'm not going to say them.
No, you'll
read A and B for yourself.
Okay, so the only way I could do this episode right up was fucking hammered, which is real. I was drinking pretty bottom shelf liquor throughout this entire thing.
Pretty? I guess anything looks pretty when you're drinking that shitty a liquor.
So let's just set the tone for how this is going to go now, because I was pretty heavily drunk. And I'm going to do full disclosure right now. I was a massive fan of Benoit. I got a Benoit Rabid Wolverine shirt in my fucking closet, still to this day, folded up, tucked away. When all this happened...
It's a fucking belly shirt now.
I mean, I would never put it on. I could not. I mean, I paint my Hogan shirt, and it's like a lot of people maybe don't know that he's racist, and it's got covered in paint, so who cares? But I mean, people
is
like
it black paint.
Nah, because
that's how you get back at it.
No. The best part is the Hulk Hogan shirt. You can get black paint on it. It repels it because it hates it so much. But this was it.
Fucking Rust-Oleum.
I graduated high school in 2006, and in 2007 I started college. And this happened when I was still kind of on that borderline fandom, and then the Benoit thing happened. And honestly, one thing they don't mention a lot here and gets kind of buried, Sherry died right before this. I loved Sherry. And
me too.
That was really rough. And then Benoit, because you're just talking about how fucking Eddie had passed recently. Then it was Sherry, and then within like 2 weeks it was Benoit. And it was just like, fuck, dude.
Not a good time.
No. So now you can go. But so I was embarrassed and sad. I stopped watching wrestling. This was one of the things that was just like, nah, I'm out.
All right. Also in Donnie's writing, not mine. As a wrestler, Benoit, his incredible theme song. He did have a great theme song.
Yes, thank you.
Great song.
He won 22 championships while being a fucking star in WWE, WCW, New Japan, and ECW.
All that's real.
I guess this kid over here.
Fucking for real.
He's a multi-time world champion, Royal Rumble winner, WrestleMania headliner, one of the best technical wrestlers to ever grace the ring, and told a story as well as anyone. Sold his ass off.
He did. That's one thing that no one gives him fucking credit for, because he was the aggressor all the time. But boy, did you beat the fuck out of him when you beat him up. He was, and like they said, they talk about it later, only guy who took a fucking chair to the head, in the back of the head. Like an idiot.
He took about 1,000 chairs to the head in this fucking, in the documentary.
Yep.
It's always bad seeing that happen and knowing the result.
Yep. Yep.
Benoit also murdered his wife and son and committed suicide in 2007. So all the fond memories and admiration stops here. The buck stops
For real.
here. We know how great he was in the ring. This episode is about why none of that matters. Mm-hmm. And I'll add something. Why he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, let's put it up. But not. I don't listen. We talking from an in-ring perspective. Jericho tries to separate the two, and you can't. I know.
You can talk about his in-ring exploits, but
it's all viewed in.
You can't talk about it and not think of the reality of the situation at the same time.
Yeah, it's really rough. It's like talking about Buck Zumoff and knowing he diddles kids. You can't even.
It really was such a
figured out a way. You figured out a way.
Okay.
All right. Point number 2. The facts is presented by the police.
"Quote unquote police."
Roxanne.
Put on the red light.
Those police. This is gonna get fucking rough. So hold on to your assholes, is what Donnie wrote.
Yep.
I would not hold on to your assholes, or else you're gonna get your finger in the pudding.
That's true. That's true. Wow, if you don't have diarrhea, it don't work.
Let's start with how the police bungled their way into this case, which seems to be a common theme with every attention whore we've ever done.
I make jokes, but my God, just going through, couldn't even list them all. But the cops are just, I can't do this anymore. They're a bunch of bungle. It feels like a Mr. Magoo show. Like, whoopsies, I fell down the steps and actually ran. I knocked over the murderer, and that's the only way I caught him.
On June 23rd. Chavo Guerrero received a series of calls and text messages from Benoit explaining that he would be late for a house show in Texas due to his wife Nancy and Daniel, his son, suffering from food poisoning.
Okay. All right. So now we're this is where we're at. Chavo is becoming a centerpiece of this case because of the communication. Because at the time he was riding with Chavo, Benoit and he were very close. So he was the
Scott
one.
Armstrong, the referee, was also
and there was also 2 other people. And they actually, we'll talk about it more later. They refused to name a few people and release other text messages.
A quick aside, woman, Nancy Benoit, was a fucking terrific manager and deserved to be recognized for more than just being Benoit's wife and a murder victim.
Yeah, they erased her.
I agree with that, and they talked about that quite a bit. Yeah. Jericho especially talked about it.
That was really enjoyable.
In the documentary, how it kind of sucks that the fact that she was a victim of Chris Benoit murdering her, she doesn't get the recognition that she deserves. Like, she deserves to be like in the WWE Hall of Fame, but the problem is can't really do it because that's all anybody would talk about.
Yep.
Which sucks for her.
That's the truth, and that's why I wanted to say this here, because in this moment it's very real. Because I loved the original. We're always talking about how, remember ECW when it was shitty, BG, I was telling you, like, don't have to watch this many years. Mm-hmm. Part of those years, Sandman was a legitimate surfer dude with just a big fat beer gut, and Woman was with him. Woman was there with him. Like, she was one of the only saving graces of the entire company for like 4 years. But whatever.
Her and the Superfly, brother.
Don't.
We should do one on him too.
Bunch of fucking murderers in this fucking area. Go ahead.
Chavo was concerned about Benoit's tone during the calls and told his longtime friend to hit him up if he needed to talk. Benoit responded saying, "I love you, Chavo."
Last words,
which is where he started to feel weird about what was going on.
Yeah, and it's actually the last words anyone heard from Chris Benoit. Although there's a recording, apparently, of a phone message that got lost somewhere and was never released. So.
Well, let's set the stage. Sunday, June 24th, 2007. Vengeance of the Night of Champions pay-per-view in Houston. Between 3:51 a.m. and 3:58 a.m. that morning, several WWE employees received text messages from Chris and Nancy's phones.
Now, this is before the show.
Chavo, Scott Armstrong, and others.
Yeah, this is the morning of.
Four of the texts had Benoit's address, and the fifth had a message about his dogs being out back and the garage door was unlocked, which Chavo talked about a lot in the documentary.
Yeah, because it's like the only thing that he was the only one who got the text message, so it's his claim to fame now.
It's not his claim to fame. It's pretty fucked up.
He says that fucking assholes on the internet tweet that at him.
Yeah.
It's just fucking disgusting.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel we're going to make jokes because this is kind of what we do at Attention Hours, but the truth is, like, stop. Stop doing it to Kevin Sullivan. Stop doing it to fucking Chavo Guerrero. Stop doing it to fucking Vicky. Yeah. Stop doing it to fucking anybody involved with this situation.
Stop doing it to Benoit's son.
Daniel Benoit, literally, I watched 2 interviews with Daniel Benoit, and the dude is just like, I would love to be a wrestler because I loved my dad. And he's like, I don't know who that man was who did that.
I believe it's David Benoit. Is who you're
did I say David?
You said Daniel.
You said Daniel.
It's David. David is the one who's still alive.
I told you I did this very drunk, so it's all blurring together. I'm taking a shot right now.
Benoit then called Johnny Ace and said he and Nancy were at the hospital with Daniel and he'd be catching a later flight. But he no-showed the event, and John Morrison beat CM Punk, planting the seed that eventually caused CM Punk to quit WWE. I don't think that's accurate.
I don't know. I wrote it. So
dumb.
Can you
I don't
imagine
think
that
CM Punk
call?
was the fucking John Morrison.
Can you imagine the
I remember this night, though, of
I do too.
watching The Vengeance and seeing the reports on, like, NoDQ.com of, like, Benoit no-showing and what the hell was, like, you know, people just like, he's not showing up.
Well, we're going to talk about
I wasn't
that.
watching during this time at all, so I didn't know anything until, like, all the news reports flooded in about Chris Benoit.
I was still watching
This was so devastating.
relatively faithfully at this point.
Yeah.
2006, this is 2007. I was like, I would miss some episodes. I was still doing pay-per-views because we were still hanging with that group of friends who watched them every year, every month. And this was, I remember because I remember Benoit rubbing the ECW world title. It was going to be another world title I won. He was talking about how I need to win another world title. I haven't won one this long, and that was the whole story of the thing. And then Johnny Ace gets a call from him. At this point, he had killed his wife and child. And then he calls Johnny Ace. And imagine Johnny Ace being like, Chris, can I help you? And he's like frenzied on the other line, and Johnny Ace is like, oh, slow down. What's going on? Like, fucking the worst part. Imagine talking to Johnny Ace in that way. I'd be like, you're making me madder!
So, I'm sure we're going to get into this more, and it was touched on a lot in the documentary about how Chris Benoit he was addicted to taking steroids, and he had huge issues with CTE from all the headshots he took, and I think a lot of people use that as, like, rationale for why he did what he did, and all that kind of stuff, and I'm sure that all of that played a role in it, but the reason why I don't have any sympathy is because he made calculated decisions, like, after he already killed his wife and child, calling people and misleading them and telling them lies, which to me is like premeditation. You meant that you had all this planned all along.
No. See, I don't want to do it. I mean, we can do it. I don't give a fuck.
He absolutely premeditated.
I don't.
Absolutely.
No, Mike. This is what my whole final. I'll give you my final statement right now. Fuck it. I don't care about
that.
This
doesn't make any sense.
This is because this is what I think happened. I'll explain the rest.
So
of
we
the
should just end the show.
Chris Benoit murdered Nancy in a fit of rage. They were talking about divorce. They had been a bunch of times.
Okay, you can say that.
But hold on. He lost because of a cadre of different things. Because of the steroids. Because of the paranoia that everyone reported he had. Because of the brain damage he had. Because of the fact that he was just genuinely a piece of shit. He fucking murdered his wife in a fit of rage. Lost consciousness probably and fucking killed her. Because of that, he freaked the fuck out. Lost any semblance of sanity. Decided it was better in his fucking broken ass mind to kill his son and then himself than to let either one of them endure the life that him killing his wife in a fit of rage caused. That's the truth.
I buy the idea that maybe he didn't kill Nancy on purpose and that it was because...
Yes.
And it was mentioned by Nancy's sister that he had beaten her before and stuff like that.
Yes.
So I could see that maybe being a possibility, but then after that happened...
Oh, he killed Daniel.
The decision was made, premeditated, to kill Daniel and to kill himself,
but I do
and to make all these phone calls.
But didn't he tape her up and then strangle her with the fucking phone cord?
Yes.
Okay, that's not really fit of rage.
He broke her back first, I guess, is what they said.
I'm pretty sure he just fucking... But here's the thing. No one knows the order of anything. So they also found her wrapped in a towel with a Bible next to her. So obviously the dude's not thinking clearly. Obviously the dude has gone into a fit of, is he sane or is he not sane at that moment? But he did it to himself over the... Monster.
He made a lot of decisions.
Yes, he made a lot of decisions.
That led him down this road as well.
But there was a semblance of I still am steeped in footed in reality. That's why he called and told these people, "Oh, I'm going to be late." Because you're right about that.
Which is why, again, I have no sympathy.
No, you should have no sympathy for
an insane
anything.
person wouldn't necessarily have done that.
Yeah. Go ahead. Next one.
So an interesting note here. Chris Benoit's Wikipedia page was changed on June 25th at 4:01 a.m. to say Benoit missed the pay-per-view due to Nancy's death. The bodies of the Benoit family were discovered by Fayette County Police 10 hours and 29 minutes later.
Wow.
When police investigated the change, the editor was traced to Stamford, Connecticut.
Wow! dude, that is a crazy conspiracy theory. Holy fucking shit!
So,
it's all real. It's all real.
So it's not a real thing.
Oh, it is real. No, because conspiracy theories have come by this, but BG, you literally answered it earlier when you said NoDQ.com and the message boards were speculating on why Chris Benoit would have missed the show. One of the speculations on dirt sheets was, oh, maybe Nancy died. So some fucking dickhead at 4:01 in the morning, didn't have a job to go to Monday fucking morning, was like, oh, let me just fucking write this shit down. And he was from Stanford in one of the wildest coincidences you would ever fucking endure. But
this is like one of the craziest things about this, and I looked into it more, and the person that was responsible for this contacted Wikipedia and said that I had heard this like speculated, and I made the wrong and terrible decision to go on Wikipedia and make this change.
And he did it a bunch of places too. He did this
and
is kind
said
of the thing
that
he
yes,
did.
I'm from Stamford, Connecticut, but I have nothing to do with WWE or anything like that. The weird coincidence is that he's from Stamford, Connecticut.
Yes. Yep.
He or she.
Otherwise, Wiki's always edited for dumb shit like this. You know what I mean?
Well, I totally believe that somebody would have seen this speculated and then just went on there and fucking did it. That's what Wiki's all about sometimes.
But the fact that he's from Stamford, Connecticut.
2007.
But the fact that it was from Stamford, Connecticut led police to actually fucking investigate this dude and WWE because of this. So.
Well, wouldn't they fucking investigate WWE regardless?
Nah. This is a shitty police department.
Oh, bro, this is this is the Fayette County Police, brother.
When Benoit didn't show up for the pay-per-view and wouldn't answer calls from officials, Johnny Ace called the police, who sent officers to his house Monday afternoon.
Yeah, we're talking about probably they got there like 1 o'clock from all police records. It's around 1 o'clock.
Benoit had several guard dogs.
In the morning?
No, in the afternoon. 1 o'clock p.m. local time.
Benoit had several guard dogs. Instead of calling animal control, police asked a neighbor named Holly Schrepfer to get the dogs in the house so they can investigate.
Oh, my God.
This is pretty fucked up.
Can I just say, these fucking police officers are like, it's like the Benny Hill fucking show.
Can you handle this?
And well, no, not even that. Call animal control because they're trained to take care of animals. That's what their deal is. But they're like,
hey, they're using fucking guard dogs.
Yeah, but Holly Schrepfer's like, oh my God, that's Poo Poo and Shufu. Oh, I love them. Do you want me to go in and take care of them? Obviously, they're not that dangerous. If Holly fucking Schrepfer is fucking in there playing with them.
When Big Howl entered the house, she found the bodies and ran out screaming. Great job,
She's such a dick.
I didn't do it. They literally said a random woman.
They fucking scarred her for life.
Yes, dude, seriously. Like, how are we not yelling at the police? Why are we yelling at me?
Why is she Big Howl?
Well, whatever, dude. She all volunteered, like, I'll take care of the dogs. Don't even sweat it. I got them. Let me go through bedroom by bedroom, apparently, and check out to see all the bodies. What the fuck are you doing, dude? Snoopy bitch.
Thankfully, Schrepfer was eventually driven from her home for months to avoid the constant surge of media knocking at her door for interviews. Why was that thankful? It's horrible. Poor Big Howl.
Insane.
By 4:15 p.m., WWE was notified of the deaths of Benoit, his wife, and his child, and the house was now ruled as a major crime scene. Okay. I don't think so.
That is what they got. So WWE received a message from police saying, hey, guys, this is a major crime scene, which basically WWE thought this was a murder of the three of them. Right. They did not think for a second it was murder-suicide.
Well, they just know that they died. You know?
No. They probably should have relayed that information because they immediately kind of were telling media like this is a murder-suicide.
Well, no, that's not true.
Investigating it as.
No, that was the next day.
Let me say yes. It was the
when
next
they
day.
addressed media about it. Yes,
but let me tell you,
they're not telling Vince that this was a murder-suicide before they go on Raw and do a tribute show.
Time out.
We had no ideas. We had no idea as the public.
Hold on.
I know, but I'm saying they probably should have.
The police knew.
The
police knew right away that this was a murder-suicide as soon as they hit the fucking scene. The thing is, they can't tell that kind of stuff right away because it's a crime scene. You don't talk about a crime scene. This is what the police... there are some ways you can get police records. So the police records say pretty much right away, hey, all points bulletin, we need people down here. This is a murder-suicide case. We need homicide detectives right away. By that time, they have to tell WWE because they're like, what's going on? They're like, hey, this is a major crime scene. They're dead. That's all they fucking tell them. But in a major crime scene, first thing you think of is murder. It's not like, oh, it was, they all died of gas, we think. Maybe, we don't know. It was a murder situation. So they knew that. So as WWE, they decided and not even to consider the possibility that murder-suicide was an option there. And they just were like, my God, I can't believe they got murdered. And they just went on that assumption. They were never told anything until later. So let's go.
Mm-hmm. We'll get to WWE's reaction to Benoit's death a little bit later, but first, let's get to the commonly accepted details of the actual murders.
Yes, so this is where it gets a bit fucking really rough.
Police believe Benoit bound Nancy at the arms and legs on the Friday before the pay-per-view.
Stop right there. There's a belief by some investigators, which is like not official, but as close to official as you can, because police officers said it in some of the interviews with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that I read, that at one point, there was an argument at the front door, like they had come in from somewhere, and the argument began there, and like there may have been contact, and they fought up to the room because there was signs that he may have hit her.
He wrapped a cord around her neck and pressed his knee into her back to strangle her to death. When they found her body in the bedroom, it was wrapped in a towel with a Bible close by. Yeah, so
that's crazy.
With that information, your theory that this was not premeditated, I don't think works.
Well, here's the thing: if they're fighting and all of a sudden they start slapping and he fucking starts beating the shit out of her, but here's the thing, Mike, I don't think he
tied her up after she was already dead. Mike, I don't think so.
No, I do think that. I truly do think that in case she got up because he didn't know she was... Here's the thing, Mike. I don't know because in my mind, in my heart, in my fucking body, I don't believe I could ever get to the point where I could kill a human being like this. This person obviously had very different build than I did. So we're trying to figure out what a madman was thinking. I don't know. But just judging from how his brain looked, from all the doctors, and judging from the use of chemicals, from steroids to pills, I could easily see this dude blacking out in a fit of rage and killing her and then being like, oh my fucking God, what did I do? So that's all. That's all. I'm not saying...
I think binding somebody is premeditation.
Well, here's the thing. We're fighting about premeditation with Nancy. The truth is, he killed Daniel premeditated, without a doubt. Of course. So that's all.
Hold on. You're saying that he bound Nancy, arms and legs, wrapped a cord around... This is what you wrote. Wrapped a cord around her neck, pressed the knee into her back, strangled her to death.
So how is that
after she's already dead?
Here's the thing. I don't know if he bound her before or after, because he could have easily done it with the Bible thing. Because if we talk about where Daniel was found...
But why is he bounding a dead body then?
It wouldn't. I don't think.
No.
You would just wrap the body.
Believe me. If he did it the way that you guys say, it's absolutely premeditation. But if you go... We're going to talk about Daniel and what he searched on Google, and the way I believe that there was some a weird spiritual aspect to what he did binding her the way he did.
There appear to be no signs of a struggle, and toxicologists found alcohol, hydrocodone, and alprazolam in her system.
It's just like they're muscle relaxants, painkillers.
Officials believe this was her normal intake, not a method to sedate her by Benoit.
And I'll say this. Normal intake as prescribed by a doctor who was found to be crooked. So she was fucking high on these pills all the time. Like most people in wrestling at that time, to be honest with you.
On Saturday, June 23rd, 2007, police believe 7-year-old Daniel Benoit was sedated with Xanax by his fucking father. Suffocated when he was unconscious on his bed.
So unconscious on his bed is a theory by the police, but to me, I don't agree with this theory by the police. I think that wherever he decided to do it is where he did it, but he was put on the bed the way he was when police found him for a very specific reason, which we're going to get to. Which is why I think Nancy was bound the way she was when they found her.
I think the bigger point is that he was already unconscious.
Yeah. Yes. Him giving... That's like me... My daughter takes medicine every night before bed. That's like me giving her Xanax with the idea of fucking killing her. It's like... Right. I literally... Go ahead. Just go on.
The thing... just real quick. Like... Killing your wife, inexcusable. Obviously, it's fucking absolutely horrible that he did that. But the thing that puts it over the top is there was no reason why he had to kill Daniel on top of that.
That's why I truly feel like he had a mental break.
He had a mother that would have taken care of him.
But I'm saying I feel like he had a mental break. Like at some point in Benoit, and like this is never justifying it. I'm just trying to like get in the mind of a person who's in this situation, and it's like you have a mental break at that point. Like you're like in your mind, you're like, well, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to kill him so none of us have to deal with the aftermath of this. Like, just let everybody else deal with it. I think that's literally the justification in his head.
Autopsy showed internal injuries to the throat area, but no bruising, indicating a strangulation death, which means this coward chose to sit on top of his son and choke him to death.
Yep. He didn't do a move. Like, he just literally sat on top of him with his two hands and fucking killed his little fucking baby boy.
At this point in the research, Donnie is crying.
I literally, this is the God honest truth. Doing this part of it and actually having the police reports and the fucking autopsy report. Chris Benoit chose to murder his son, and there is no other way around it. So any justification for anything that he does in a ring or anything like that is completely out the window because he chose to murder his child. And there is no, it's 100%. There ain't no fucking argument. You can argue about fucking whatever. I don't give a shit. He killed his kid. So it's very rough. As a dad, it's fucking really rough. This whole situation's really rough. But let's go on.
After he murdered his son, Benoit went on Google. According to the sister of Nancy Benoit, Sigrid Toffolini.
This is the interview that I'm talking about, BG, and this is where I got some crazy info. This shit especially. And this is where, because they knew, because they said after the fucking Eddie thing, him and fucking Eddie standing with the titles, he was on top, right? And he said he became very paranoid. He believed that people were trying to take his position. He believed that people were undermining his spot. He believed that, because he said in WCW, this is what they did to me, and this is what they're doing here. So Triple H killed somebody again. So, but the thing is, like, when you
lost that title to Orton pretty quick.
Yeah. So when you look and look at the people who were in charge, quote unquote, at the time.
And I like how you want to say that Triple H did this, where Benoit beat him.
He put him over.
So here's
tapped out.
He's a pussy. So here's the deal. The truth is that his paranoia had grown so much at this point, and he became like uber fucking religious. Like, he was a very violent person. Beat Nancy.
Well, basically,
allegedly.
Eddie was very religious, and he had never been religious, and then basically he became religious because Eddie suggested, like, he should find God or whatever.
Yep.
And then after Eddie died, he fucking went just wild with it based on whatever he was saying.
Exactly. And he believed everything that he read. He became he would read scripture and just be like, that's real life. And, like, he was losing touch with reality. Very quickly, you could tell. And in this interview, she's like, dude, I could tell in 2004. His ass was losing touch with the reality. It was hard. It wasn't hard to see.
Benoit searched for stories on the prophet Elijah, including a passage about how the prophet could raise a boy from the dead, starting with placing the child on his bed. Police found Daniel on his bed.
Yep. So that's one of the reasons why. Honestly, it was Albert Fish who would have those like moments of dementia where he couldn't remember what he did or that's what he said, but he would also just believe, but he would like read the scripture and then try to like do the scripture, try to see if like God would come down and intervene before he did something, and he never would. So, like, I don't know if he, like, became, like, because he killed his wife, and what, premeditated not, he realized, oh, shit, I killed my wife, regardless, what, oh, fuck, I killed my wife, and he went crazy because of that, and, like, went to religion, and now he's like, I gotta kill my son, but, like, maybe I could bring him back, like, I don't know, I don't fucking know, I don't know.
He was fucked up, no doubt about it.
Yeah, big time.
He also searched the easiest and most painless ways to break your neck for himself.
Pussy. Fucking pussy, dude. Of course he's like, oh, easiest way out now.
He deserved the fucking hardest and most painful way.
Yeah. Ass raped by a fucking shark.
Investigators also found a Bible and a knife next to Daniel's body, which again signals premeditation, like trying to make it seem like there was an intruder or something, like to put that knife there. Very strange.
Or was it him, like, I don't know how to do this?
I don't know.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, he can't bring himself to stab him, so he chokes him. Why is it that I have to think about this? God damn, this is why Attention Horrors is taking a break. Because it's not fair to my brain to think about this shit, dude.
You're fucked up anyways. Benoit killed his wife Friday night. He killed Daniel Saturday morning.
That's the belief. According to autopsies, the belief is that he killed her Friday night, formulated what would be the plan to kill Daniel, and then orchestrated it in the morning.
That means he spent the next day going crazy in his home as two dead bodies sat there, and he was scheduled to win the ECW title and didn't show up.
Nope.
How's your day going?
It's better than that! Better than that! Mike. Coronavirus don't seem so bad now.
I think that might be the most fucked up part of it all, is he just was like milling around in that house for a day. While
no, Mike. He wasn't milling around. He was literally like, that's what insanity looks like. Whatever he looked like in that moment is like,
I can only imagine.
Talking like twitching, like oh my god. But again, I'll never be in that position. So I don't care what he was like. He's a piece of shit.
As for how Benoit took the easy way out, because he's the ultimate coward.
Yep.
He used the infamous Bowflex to hang himself by creating a noose from the end of the cord on the pull-down machine. He stood there and released the weights, breaking his neck instantly.
Dead right away.
Wow.
Died right away.
That's crazy.
So he's out.
He also brought a fucking bottle of wine down there with him.
Oh, well, we'll talk about that when we get to... Did I mention that already? Because there's at one point... no, we get to this point. It's so much fun the way the cops just like throw it in. They're like, we found empty beer cans and wine. It's like, that's it? That's what you're talking about? That's why this happened? Thanks so much.
The least important part of it. This section is called steroids and CTE.
Because this is what... okay, immediately. We just fucking found out. Oh my god, the excruciating details about Benoit, double murder, suicide, right? And now everybody's like, we're all sitting... Mike, PG,
now it's time for the news stations to blame this on wrestling in any way they possibly can.
I'm not even going to say it's blamed on wrestling.
That is definitely part of it. No doubt.
Definitely,
that's what the
sure.
coverage was.
I didn't even really care about the fact, because that's fucking... Wrestling is a carny thing. It's been...
No, but I'm just saying that's what the whole entire...
But in the gist of it, it was steroid use and brain injuries, and it could be blamed on. But the same thing is applicable in the NFL.
First it was steroids, and then it was eventually.
Well, we'll talk about that. Go ahead.
After the police found Benoit's body, they conducted a raid at the office of Benoit's personal physician, Dr. Phil Aschin.
Aschin, don't do this.
Aston.
Mine's Aston. It's Aston.
Aschin. According to police records, Benoit visited Aschin on Friday, the day he killed his wife, where the doctor said Benoit showed no signs of distress.
Here's the thing. He visited...
Well, when you're a fucking psychopath, like you
Hold
can
on.
sometimes not
No.
distress.
That's where this is... To me, I feel like that's one of the things I want to talk about from the documentary and some books. He visited him during normal business hours. He killed her at night. Of course, he didn't plan to kill her if he's just chilling, like, yeah, come to the doctor, get my steroids.
That's not necessarily true.
Okay, maybe he didn't, but my thing is, if my theory is correct, he saw the doctor before that day. He would have been cool.
Your theory seems super wrong based on how he killed Nancy.
Regardless, it was before he murdered her, so he was chill.
Aschin was prescribing pills and anabolic steroids to Benoit and his wife, and eventually was thrown in prison for his irresponsible actions.
Not directly connected to this case, though.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask.
Not directly, but basically from that investigation, from that raid, they had enough to be like, "Yo, motherfucker."
Interesting.
As soon as it was revealed that anabolic steroids were involved, people jumped to roid rage as the main factor in the murder.
That's where the wrestling, everybody in wrestling.
Roid rage was all the rage.
But it's always been, dude. You can go back to fucking Major League Baseball. You can go back to fucking Davey Meltzer calling out fucking Vince McMahon on Donahue.
Steroid trials. This was
really
nice.
Had so many wrestlers come. I remember Mr. Kennedy coming on fucking news.
Yep.
About this shit. They had a lot of people coming in and out for interviews.
Yep.
Not only did Benoit have steroids in his system when autopsied, but the family members cleaning out the house found luggage containing vials of steroids that the police missed.
Whoops.
This dude was just on a constant cycle of steroids.
Yeah, of course.
And they had said that for years and years and years and years and years.
Look at his body. Look at his body and how it never changed. So as long as his body looked like that, he was on steroids.
That's crazy.
And it certainly wasn't natural.
You're talking about 20 fucking years, probably?
Who was it in the Dark Side of the Ring? Was it Randazzo the Fifth? Who said that he must have been on steroids since he was in high school?
Yeah, Randazzo B, I think is what you mean, BG.
B, yes. Why don't you stop being a coward about Roman numerals?
Police also noted there were several empty beer cans and an empty wine bottle.
Say what I wrote.
My God! That's
like no shit. He's gonna drink himself.
Swear to God, I was sitting there when I heard that. I was like,
remember that time you had a couple beers and then slayed your fucking family?
Yeah, with songs. Good.
As everyone was yelling about steroids, Benoit's father donated his son's brain to science. Smart. Where Chris Nowinski, former WWE superstar, Harvard grad, and others studied it. He believes his snap decision to murder Nancy was brought on by repeated, untreated concussions.
And that's why, one of the reasons why I believe so heavily that he did snap to kill her, well, it may have been premeditated in the moment, like, I'm going to kill you this time, I'm done with this, like...
Premeditation requires very little time. Like, you can make a decision and then do it a second later. By the letter of the law.
It's such a slippery slope. I don't know. I don't want to fucking ever go down that slippery slope.
And
that sounds like the worst. By the way, by premeditated murder sounds like the worst fucking slippery slope ride I've ever heard in my life. You just whoa, no, I don't want to go down here.
I do believe that of all the things that could have possibly fucked him up and caused him to go down this road, CTE, knowing what we know now, 100% the main culprit.
Mm-hmm.
No question.
Mike Chiari. So. I had to take another shot because I'm really getting depressed in this whole fucking situation. I went deep on this aspect of it, the CTE and Benoit, and I found an actual academic paper written about Chris Benoit's brain. Give me some stuff here, Mike.
Dr. Robert Cantu, chief of neurosurgery at Emerson Hospital in Concord, Massachusetts, said that by the time Benoit killed himself at 40 years old, he had the brain of a man aged 80 or older with very severe Alzheimer's disease.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes!
I remember this. Yeah.
His was the most extensively damaged of the brains we have examined so far, Cantu said.
Okay, so Cantu literally ran a program studying the long-term effects of CTE, which started about 1994 is when the first sense of, like, maybe these guys are caused. It was basically based on guys who had head trauma who also murdered. It was basically an offshoot of some of the serial killers of the 70s and 80s who all of them had signs of head trauma. And they're like, well, is there a connection between head trauma and murder? And so they kind of dug through this, and then there was like, okay, well, look, all these brains are showing this. Look at this. And they discovered CTE that way. And
over the past 5 years or so, especially, is when studying the brains of athletes who died has become a huge deal, especially football players. Mm-hmm. And guys like Junior Seau, Dave Duerson committed suicide.
And then Javon Belcher, dude. Fucking young kid fucking did the same thing.
And then
literally the same thing as this.
And then the brains were studied and it was found that they had severe CTE, and that's essentially what happened here with Benoit. And again, one of the many reasons why I don't have sympathy for him, these guys took their own lives, terrible, but they didn't go and, well, Javon Belcher did. He killed his girlfriend.
Yes,
but,
yes.
Most of these people didn't go and murder other people. All 80-year-old Alzheimer's patients don't go and murder all other people for the most part. So it's very hard for me to have, it's impossible for me to have any type of remorse.
Stop worrying. You don't have to be sympathetic.
For those interested, looks like this was September 5th, 2007.
Oh shit, that was my birthday.
When Dr. Cantu releases this.
Great birthday present, Cantu. Thanks.
Happy birthday, Mike.
Speculation on why Benoit killed.
So that's because here's the thing. We always talk about when we talked about Dahmer. It's like, why? Why would they do this? Why would you do it? And some of them talk, some of them don't talk. But Benoit killed himself, so we'll never know. But I mean, we can. Let's. Hey, listen. It's the internet. It's wrestling. Let's speculate.
Following the murders, WWE's attorney, Jerry McDevitt, said Benoit and his wife were always fighting about him taking time off to care for Daniel, who they claim suffered from a rare medical condition called Fragile X syndrome.
Remember this, because this is WWE's attorney who had no reason to mention this. It was his prerogative to mention this, so let's take that a note and move forward.
It should be noted, Nancy filed for divorce in 2003, citing threats from Benoit. Nancy's sister also said he physically abused her on several occasions, which we mentioned.
Yes, so that's here's the thing.
Didn't Jericho say that like she would fight, or someone say that she would in the documentary that she would fight back?
Jericho said she wouldn't take his shit. She would.
Or did he mean like verbally?
Okay,
probably both.
Can I tell you the truth? Probably both. Neither justifiable.
No, I was just.
So it's not okay for him to hit her, and like even if she could fight back, like.
Oh, I thought you meant like. I mean, it was definitely justifiable for her to fight back.
Oh no! Hey, no, the fact that she like has like, oh no, I can hit her because she fights back. Like that's kind of what I felt like they were saying there in that moment.
Listen,
like,
she could also hit him. We don't know.
I don't listen. No, BG, let me tell you. No, BG, let me fucking clear this up in case you don't fucking know. I don't care if a woman fucking socks you in your fucking mouth as hard as she can. You don't fucking hit her back. That's the fucking end of story, dude. I'm sorry. That's the way the world works.
Unless you're about to literally get murdered with a weapon or something.
Yeah, that's the only time. Only fucking time. Just for the record. I know that's old school. Maybe I'm archaic by saying that, but I don't care. I don't care. She's going to stop
It's not
you.
really old school.
Walk
Old
the fuck
school
away.
would be like, beat them at all costs.
Take that
That's old
bitch
school.
down a peg or two for Rampy.
Benoit had taken off 4 months in 2006 to keep his marriage alive, which McDevitt said was for depression, that kind of thing.
Oh, my God. My God.
A depression thing.
It's like you're always looking for warning signs, and there are so many, and they're like, whatever, depression, that kind of, I don't know. I didn't really bother asking.
Something that I think is really important to note, though, and even 2006, that's 14 years ago now, if you go back to then, like, people talking about having depression, especially in, like, a macho environment like wrestling or professional sports, it was not viewed as something that you would do.
Dude, 2006, I was graduating from high school.
Since then.
You could
depression
say
and mental health, all that has significantly changed.
In the latest, every day it gets better.
But, but like this is a very recent thing of people more being accepting of it and understanding it and being even open to discussing it if you have it or know someone who has it. I had a couple friends who did it. I did a paper in college about it because it was pretty taboo around this time. And this is when I'm in college when this Chris Benoit thing happens. So yeah, like what Mike is saying, it was very true. Like even though 14 years ago doesn't seem that long ago, it was
forever.
It really was, and in that a lot of these things.
Yeah,
I mean, like you guys saying, like
our
CTE,
culture's changed
like,
a ton in 14 years, dude.
And now you see so many more athletes being open about their struggles with that, especially like in the NBA, like Kevin Love, DeMar DeRozan, a lot of people like that. Like, and that's like empowering more people to speak up when they're battling these types of issues.
Open about
At
your
this time,
experiences.
it wasn't a thing.
And dude, let me tell you something about Chris Benoit. Even if all wrestlers were like, "Man, I'm battling depression," Chris Benoit would still be the guy who'd be like, "Nope, not me."
No. Yep. Donnie went down a rabbit hole, as he so often does. He got stuck.
So fat.
Too fat. As it seems, everyone said Daniel had Fragile X syndrome until around 2011.
This is one of the weirdest fucking things about this whole case to me. The police said he had fucking Fragile X. The family members interviewed had Fragile X. Everybody, Chris Jericho said it. Fucking everybody said it. And then in 2011, everything changed. Everybody said no.
In 2011, Jericho, police, and family members said there was no record of the disorder.
I don't know what the deal
everything
is.
I ever heard, and not even just like saying Fragile X, just I always heard like he had a disability of some kind.
And the
That's
track
what was
marks.
always said.
I always assumed that they found track marks on him. That was fact. Because that's what was always reported with this situation. And then you go through it, and there are fucking like conflicting statements about it. I don't know what to believe.
Shortly after the murders, District Attorney Scott Ballard claimed Daniel was almost dwarfed and had needle marks on his arms when police found his body.
Why would he say that out loud to the public?
Don't know. Reports suggested that needle marks on Daniel's arms were the result of growth hormone injections given to him by Benoit since he was undersized due to Fragile X.
Okay, so that was from when this
I'll tell you right now.
Cinnamon's fucking furious.
It's very possible he didn't have it, and that Benoit, because he was so obsessed with his own physique and his own body since he was young, apparently, in high school, like Randazzo V said, that he viewed his son the same way and was giving him shit that he did not need. I could very easily see that being the case.
Yep. But Nancy's
sister claims the claim.
Okay, listen, dude, take it easy.
Melts. Of needle track marks on Daniel's arms were preposterous.
That's what she said during that. There was a whole section of that interview with Chris Jericho where she talks about this situation. She's like, I don't know where that came from, but there's no evidence that I saw that was the case. So I don't know if she was like studying his arms or not. I'm not sure what the fuck was going on there, but the police said one thing, she said one thing, and then now everybody says no.
In another odd discrepancy, the autopsy report listed cervical compression as the cause of death, while the death certificate listed suffocation.
So broken neck, suffocation.
Right.
It's a discrepancy. Usually that's not a thing. Usually they're both very much on. If the autopsy says one thing, then the death certificate mirrors it almost exactly.
Fucking always. Fayette County or whatever, not doing a good job, as we know.
No, we've known that since the beginning.
This next section, entitled WWE Makes a Whoopsie.
Whoopsies.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah, they made a little bit of a blunder.
I mean, WWE's made some mistakes over the years. I think more often than not they get it right, but I think this is probably the main one they'd like to have back.
Yeah, well,
this would be it.
This is definitely one of the ones they'd like to have back.
The one.
I don't know.
One. That's it.
Okay.
Besides someone in the company clearly knowing the info ahead of time and changing the wiki, not correct.
Unbelievable.
WWE had a bit of a butt fumble with the response. We're comparing a fucking
Mark Sanchez. Yes, Mark Sanchez.
Mark Sanchez running into the ass of his center.
I mean, I don't see a difference. No.
All right.
It's a whoopsie. It's a whoopsie.
WWE reported the deaths of Benoit, Nancy, and Daniel on Monday, saying, World Wrestling Entertainment was informed today by authorities in Fayette County, Georgia, that WWE superstar Chris Benoit, his wife Nancy, and his son were found dead in their home. Police are investigating, but no other details are available at this time. Before any details of the crimes were known, WWE canceled the live episode of Raw, which was scheduled to be the memorial for the previously murdered Vince McMahon, and aired a Benoit tribute episode.
So
real
quick, that the episode was. Do you remember when they talk about the fucking the limo exploding?
Mm-hmm.
Right, that was the episode that happened the week before. This week was going to be his tribute show, literally his tribute show.
And should have rolled with that in retrospect.
Yeah, I would say so. Even if it's viewed as insensitive, by the end, they're like, "Yeah, fuck them." Right?
No,
but here's the deal. They did this tribute episode knowing now that Benoit had been murdered, Daniel had been murdered, and Nancy had been murdered. They never once thought, like, but here's the thing. Like, BG, I understand. Like, you're operating a major crime thing. You have to, like, we have to chill out until we know all the facts.
But we don't know what they were told.
And here's the
thing.
We know that they were told that this family was murdered, and they were all close to this family. It was a wrestling family. It would be like if something happened to you, and me and Mike come on here and do a fucking tribute for you, and then the next day we're told something completely different of what you did. That's not our fault.
Which would very likely happen.
It's not completely different.
Here's the thing. WWE was in an almost impossible situation because here were your options.
5 hours before the show starts?
Here were your options. You could go forward with the show as scheduled, which you couldn't do, obviously. You could cancel the show altogether, which is maybe what they should have done, and just done nothing at all. You could do the show and then just not even, like, mention the fact that Chris Benoit died, which I think that would rub so many people that were in that company the wrong way because there's so many people that were close to him or friends to him and wanted to say something.
And remember, that's in the moment. You don't know what Benoit did. You just know that he's dead.
Right.
And Eddie just happened recently, too.
So, it was such a difficult situation, and I can't even, like, I'm sure all of them thought there's no way Chris Benoit would murder his family, because they all thought that they knew this guy.
Yeah.
Like, so I think they all gave him the benefit of the doubt, and they were made to look foolish after the fact, but, I mean, hard to say what they should have done.
It's so fucked. This whole situation
I just don't think it's fair to say that they're made to... Like, yeah, they look foolish because of what Chris Benoit did, but for their perspective, there's no way to know that. Like,
you still should wait.
The fact, but I'm not. It was kind of outside their control.
You say you should wait, knowing knowing from the outside of what happened to this company, not from in the moment.
Right. Hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah. Whatever.
It's unclear exactly when WWE officials found out, but police say they notified the company they were working under the assumption that the deaths were a double murder-suicide on Monday night.
So that means...
In the midst of the
episode...
There
was a chance... There's no... Listen, there's plenty of speculation, but the police said that Monday night they told WWE officials. That doesn't mean... It's Eastern time. It could
have been 11:01 p.m.
It could have been after the show. It could have been during the show. But... My God.
They could be full of it, which happens all the time.
Well, no, the police definitely... The thing about records like that is they are meticulous.
Cover their own tracks.
They are meticulous about covering their own tracks.
If they don't release the exact timing, then we don't know.
They said Monday night.
You can say one thing, and it might not necessarily be true.
Listen, here's the thing. I have to trust police reports, otherwise what is our society, Mike?
It seems like the police reports are wrong a lot of the time.
My God, then what is our society? We should riot.
Fucked up.
Riddled with coronavirus.
If Cena wins, we riot.
Imagine being in the midst of a memorial show and learning that. Whoopsies. Yep. Vince came out the next night on ECW and never apologized, but gave us some shitty corporate liner, erased Benoit from history. You really fucking wrote this bullshit?
Yep. So here's the thing. You can say whatever you want, but he should have come out and been like, we fucked up. I'm so fucking sorry we did this. This is crazy.
Well, he said, I won't be mentioning Chris Benoit again.
No, read it. Read what he fucking said.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Last night on Monday Night Raw, the WWE presented a special tribute show recognizing the career of Chris Benoit. However, now, some 26 hours later, the facts of this horrific tragedy are now apparent. Therefore, other than my comments, there will be no mention of Mr. Benoit's name tonight. On the contrary, tonight's show will be dedicated to everyone who's been affected by this terrible incident. This evening marks the first step of the healing process. Tonight, WWE performers will do what they do better than anyone else in the world: entertain you.
Cool. It sounds like a PR release that I got about this, dude. Fuck that.
That's exactly what it is.
It is. He should have said, we fucked up. He should have said, we're sorry. I cannot fucking... He should have owned what they did. I would have more respect if they just said, fuck. God damn it. We were told that it was a fucking serious situation. We thought he was murdered. He fucking killed his family. We are so sorry we got a tribute show. He definitely should have said all that. Fuck him.
So, Vince loves the fans, and
that's such
there's a saying, being in love means never having to say you're sorry. And I think he really subscribes to that theory.
I'm wondering if that's why divorce rates are so high.
Could be. This is Donnie's wording, not mine. Say sorry, you old coward. Now every time Benoit's in a match, I think I'm going to see a titty because of the parental advisory warning. Nope. What?
That's real. Every time there's a Benoit match on a pay-per-view or an event on WWE Network, a parental advisory comes up. It usually comes up because of a titty popping out or something like that.
I just want to throw it in there really quickly because there's always been a lot of talk about the way WWE is not counting the fucking tribute show and the statement afterwards, but the way WWE's handled Benoit since then, aka basically erasing him from history and never mentioning him. And a lot of people, for whatever reason, are very offended by that and cry about that all the time. It's the way it has to be, and it's the way that it should be, and it's the way that it is.
We got no choice, brother.
Yep. So
fucking man murdered his family.
If you want to celebrate Chris Benoit's career in your own way, personally, by yourself, go ahead and do that. I mean, I'll judge you my own way, probably, but you could do that. But it's not on WWE to give you the platform to do that.
WWE's a company, and they're a publicly traded company, and their idea is to sell their brand. And having a double murder... You don't see the fucking
New England Patriots come down here and be like, yeah, Aaron Hernandez, what a fucking year he had in 2014.
They had two really good tight ends.
Yeah, but they only talk about one of them, and there's a reason for that. Because Gronk didn't murder anybody.
He did murder Steve Harvey's head.
Yeah, it was inanimate, though, so it's okay. He also murders the English language a lot.
Yeah, right, brother!
Conspiracy theories. Oh, boy.
Oh, shit! Listen, okay, let's take... Okay, all the seriousness, that was really rough. I literally cried during doing this outline. But this part, Mike,
it's
BG...
heartbreaking.
Mike, BG, you know this is where I thrive, brother. This is where I live my life, on that fringe. And this is the conspiracy theories around the Benoit double murder suicide.
BG, this is a choose your own adventure, okay?
Oh, okay.
So you get to choose. Was it Kevin Sullivan did it per Dungeon of Doom?
Okay.
I think that's irresponsible, actually.
Or, no, that doesn't matter here.
No,
or,
not even a little.
It was a mob hit.
Whoa!
Let's go with mob hit between the two of them.
Okay, that's
okay. Well, actually, we're gonna do Devil Made Him do it first.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, I was gonna let you go down here to do it, but yeah.
That's too much.
You chose wrong, BJ.
This is like when you choose a fucking number in the brown box and
Donnie, I correct it. Yeah,
different one. So the devil made him do it. This theory is that woman's former husband Kevin Sullivan, who booked his own divorce.
I don't want to get into that right now, but he absolutely did. And if you go through the annals of WCW, you watch as a man is like, "Oh, I fucked up here."
Really, one of the most fucked up things I've heard.
For real, it's fucking wild, dude. I mean, he did it though. Like, I don't even blame Benoit and woman. They're like, he's like, I need you to sleep together, pretty much.
According to Nancy's sister, Kevin Sullivan was also a piece of shit that beat Nancy. Yes. So I have no real sympathy there. Although
Nancy is the true victim here.
Yes, always.
But anyways, Kevin Sullivan, the theory is, murdered all three Benoit family members and made it look like a double murder suicide because he held a grudge.
It's a terrible
Seems
theory.
highly unlikely.
I mean, hey, whoa, hold the fucking phone, dude. That's kind of negativity we don't need here.
Yeah. I'm in the dark, Sullivan told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution following the murders. I wrestled with him a lot. Thought he was a great performer.
My God.
That's
My
a weird
God.
thing to say.
It's super weird. It's my ex-wife murdered by this dude who stole her from me. Great performer, though. Great
Wrestled him a
performer,
lot.
though. Yeah, I wrestled him a lot. Great performer.
Okay, this is fun. According to
No. I'm in
Yes.
the dark. I wrestled with him a lot. I thought he was a great performer. What did I write right there?
You wrote the words of a liar, folks.
Come on, let's get into this, Mike. I need you hyped for this, bro.
This is my favorite part, because I can already see the fucking stupidity, okay?
You're Michael Cole. You're Michael Cole, and I'm fucking Mojo shaking you, bro.
According to at WWE News and Updates 1 on Facebook. At
Reliable.
WWE News and Updates was taken. So this is...
There's the squalor. Finally, someone's got a ventilator.
Yikes. They're coming to find Kevin Sullivan, because they're going to learn today that he did the murders. Kevin Sullivan murdered Chris Benoit and his family. This is all written by this fucking account.
This is quote unquote right now. From now on, until we say
This ain't me, brother.
Yeah, come on, don't do that to us.
Benoit was on the phone with Chavo the day before the murder started. Chavo said there was a knock at the door. Benoit answered, and there was a sound of banging around. I don't think he said that at all.
I do.
Benoit answered, and there was a sound of... banging around. Benoit then called back later and told Chavo he loved him and sounded in fear as he said it. Kevin Sullivan, known Satanist. Not a known Satanist, just known Satanist.
Yep.
Vowed he would kill Benoit one day. The day the murders took place exactly 7 years after Nancy left Sullivan for Benoit. No idea if that's even close to true.
I do.
Yeah, that's a
Yep.
day that they banged for the first time. Is that how we're doing it?
Correct. Absolutely correct.
Another former girlfriend of Sullivan, Sensational Sherry, was also found dead the same weekend.
That's not
What's
even
the
true. It was
Benoit-
actually
Is
2
that
weeks.
real?
No, it was 2 weeks before.
Yikes. Benoit's phone was in use after he was dead.
I mean, there is a chance that's real. We'll get to that in just a moment here, but I can't corroborate.
There had to have been someone with him that took his phone. Kevin Sullivan was always jealous of Chris Benoit because he had more fame than Sullivan. Benoit was at the doctor on Friday to get cleared to compete for Night of Champions against CM Punk for the ECW Championship. I don't think that's true.
Yes, it
He was
was.
there, but I don't think it was to get cleared.
Oh, it definitely was.
Why would someone who was planning to kill themselves go to the doctors, let alone get cleared for in-ring action the day of his quote-unquote planned suicide? Stop and think for a second. All these facts in hand, in front of your face. Did Benoit really kill himself? Or was he murdered by Kevin Sullivan?
My God, Facebook won.
Front of your face!
How did you find this?
Facial fluid.
Listen, dude. I told you, I'm really good at finding the shitty part of the internet. Okay, and I found this, and you're welcome. You're fucking welcome. But okay, listen. You just heard how obviously Kevin Sullivan murdered Chris Benoit and his family. It's obvious now. I'm sorry.
No fucking evidence whatsoever that he was anywhere near there.
Listen,
Yeah.
shut
This
the.
legit sounds like a Meltz report.
Listen, BG, shut the fuck up. This is a transcription of the fucking Meltz War.
Meltz
Mike
Wand.
Chiari, read the super minor, not at all important footnote about this, though, please.
David Benoit said that police investigated the possibility of Sullivan staging the murder-suicide, and he was subsequently cleared.
Is that because?
Because, let's trust the police.
What did they investigate him because of?
Don't stand
One?
so close to
Close
me,
to
Kevin
me.
Sullivan. Because you'll kill me. Woo! But yes,
Johnny?
I'm sorry. What was the question?
Did they investigate Kevin Sullivan because of this post by WWE News and Updates 1?
Well, no, because he was an ex-husband, and police immediately investigate all close relatives like that.
Gotcha.
That's regular homicide detective protocol.
101.
And they literally fucking said to him, they're like, well, Benoit did it, but, you're the ex-husband, so, did you do it? And he's like, no. And they're like, that's good enough for me.
Take your word as gospel.
So let's get to the
Fucking
mob
known
hit.
Satanist.
BG, you wanted the mob hit? You got it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Benoit got freaking whacked, bro.
Oh shit! BG's like, wow, this strikes home for me.
According to a very nice man and someone who gave Donnie great advice when getting into this business, I don't know what the fuck business you're talking about.
Just journalism.
The wrestling
in general.
business.
No, journalism actually.
He gave you journalism? Yikes! He should be fucking put in jail for the
Okay.
for the fucking advice he gave you.
But Bill Apter, yes, Aftermath.
Yes, the Aftermaths.
Aftermath. Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate you knowing that. But Bill Apter,
I know everything.
Genuinely, when I got into this business, Bill Apter was one of the first person. I reached out to every single person. First person.
He's the only one that returned his email.
Legitimately,
he had nothing else to do. He's a lonely old man.
Legitimately, he was one of the only people who reached out to me. He was so fucking nice to me, and he gave me some really great advice about everything like that. He just believed kayfabe in wrestling wasn't dead, and believed it. He was around since the early 1970s. Apparently, a crotch rocket just
what was that?
flew by me, dude. It was like a Batmobile. But Bill Apter literally was in every magazine. He was the most well-known wrestling reporter of the 70s and 80s. You could argue.
Yep.
So according to Bill Apter, who's very old now and might not really understand everything going on.
Ease up. Well, the comments he's about to make are fucking unbelievable, which I'll read.
Benoit likely angered someone enough to murder his family and then him and make it all look like a murder-suicide.
And this is from an interview that I read with Bill Apter. So this is genuinely a transcription of what Bill Apter said. And me reading it as I think Bill Apter sounds like in my head.
Okay, go ahead.
I think somehow Chris got in some trouble. I don't know what it was, but I don't know what was after, or who they were after, or whatever, but I think something happened, okay? I think when he got home, Nancy and his son were dead. Oh, God. To me, if it hit like a murder, legit murder, a hit is a murder, that's a mob term for murder, is done in a professional way, they can make it look like you did it and you committed suicide as well. Oh, my God. I understand that husband... Excuse me, I'm not done yet. I understand that husbands... I understand that husbands and wives kill each other sometimes. They do! Oh my God, they do! Don't get mad at me for saying that, but they do, okay? They do. Husbands kill wives, wives kill husbands. That's the world, okay? We live in it. But not the boy. This is what does not make sense to me. Because I knew they had a volatile relationship, Chris and Nancy. There was a lot of issues and all that, but because of Daniel, the boy... And how enamored he was with Daniel. I cannot fathom he could do this.
I like how he says husbands and wives kill each other sometimes. Literally, like, fucking parents kill their fucking children all the time, and they're monsters.
Can I say something to you? Not a justification. It's just like, he's like, yeah, husbands and wives, they kill each other sometimes. What is it? Would it be? You know what I mean?
This is like, for somebody who was known as, like, the wrestling journalist for his time, an incredibly fucking irresponsible, like, theory.
Is it?
This is
Mike? You know what?
Is it, Mike?
Mike really did teach you everything you know.
I'll say this, Mike. Truly, read the next.
Freaking F.
Mike, read the next part. You fucking coward.
Apter provides no evidence for the theory and no proof that he had any known enemies, which means this very plausible explanation needs to be explored further, or just dismissed.
Shut up! That's you fucking ignorant bitch.
Want to talk about other weird shit you found?
Yeah, I do. I honestly really do.
Remember Big Holly Schrepfer? Remember her?
Yeah, of course, dude. Hey, it's a Big Hall!
Oh my God.
Hardcore Holly. Mighty Molly Holly.
No.
She said in subsequent interviews that she randomly saw Dave Taylor and his wife Lisa carrying a platter of deli food towards the Benoit's house around the time of the murders. Taylor denies the claims, but he ain't got no alibi. He ugly. Yeah, he ugly.
Hold on. The first
How does Big Hall know Dave Taylor?
This story is, I got this from a legitimate fucking source. This is, again, Atlanta Journal-Constitution. These are legitimate fucking journalistic institutions, truly. Mike, you do reporting. Atlanta Journal-Constitution reports something. You, as a reporter, are like, that's gospel, right?
Sure, you buy it.
Right? Absolutely. So when they say this shit, I'm like, why the fuck are they publishing this unless it's been maybe... What does Dave Taylor have to do with this? And why ain't he got no alibi? He ugly.
How does Holly know Dave Taylor? There's so many wrestling fans that don't even know who fuck Dave Taylor is.
Dave Taylor and
He's a blue blood.
No, Dave Taylor and Benoit were close friends. That's a fact.
So what's the suggestion that Dave Taylor and his wife Lisa murdered everybody?
No.
That they saw them all dead and just didn't say nothing?
Hey, Mike, what's the name of the subsection?
Weird shit.
Other weird shit I found. I don't know what the fuck it means. I just know Dave Taylor was trying to deliver meat to Benoit after he murdered his family, and this
trying to slip him the old and Dewey sauce.
Brother, I don't know. They're swingers. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I just don't know.
Verizon Wireless.
Nice. Did you come up with that?
Yes. Yes, I did.
That's why it sucks. We're not subpoenaed for voicemail messages because they claimed a system failure resulted in a complete loss of data.
Such a bullshit, dude. I got fucking voicemails on my phone from like 17 years ago.
Randomly all the time, so I buy this.
Maybe get not Cricket. I don't know what to tell you.
No, I have Verizon Wireless.
Wireless is a fucking really good one. That's bottom shelf. This is the end of the night for me here. I'm fucked up.
Big Hal is just fucking being...
She's all over this investigation.
She is, dude. She made herself part of the investigation, though. She's one of those kind of people.
She found Benoit's diary in the trash when she was snooping around. Did the police throw it away? Where are they hiding? I thought they found... No, they found the diary.
They did. They had found... And
he wrote all kinds of crazy shit about Eddie in there.
Okay, so that was the diary that Nancy gave him. That's a different diary.
So is it a different diary?
Yes. So Nancy gave him a diary saying, like, hey, since you lost Eddie, you're kind of, like, fucking up a little bit here. Like, I need you to just talk your feelings out because you're fucked up right now. She could see what was happening with him. And it was very sad and also very religious and, like, stark, like, hard religion, too. And you could see the mania, the religious mania. That's why part of this feels like maybe she was bound, and that was part of a religious scripture that he maybe read. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
Well, there you go.
Benoit's family found a suicide note in the Bible saying, "I'm preparing to leave this earth."
Yep. That's that. His dad got the Bible and then sent it to Benoit's wife, ex-wife, and she found the note. And this is how did we get that information from this source?
For some reason, it says, according to Sweet Hot Dave Meltzer, this is a quote from him. There was a note that was found in a Bible by the mother of Chris's 2 children, Martina Benoit, who lives in Canada. The Bible was mixed in with Chris's personal belongings that were shipped to them.
Yeah. So nobody found it until she was going through each one of them, essentially.
What the fuck's the note say besides that one line?
No one will say. His dad didn't say.
That seems like an important thing that the police should see.
The police have absolutely seen it, but he won't talk to the people about it. I feel like...
as usual, Melts has fucking nothing for us.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a good... This is why even we're busting dirt sheets even on intention horrors. And again, this is all I want to mention this one more time because this is my opinion of what happened. I believe because of all the evidence of religious mania that we saw with a guy like Albert Fish who justified every murder he did with the Bible. If God had not wanted me to murder that person, he would have stopped me like he did in the Bible. I think that he bound Nancy after the murder. I think the murder was spontaneous, not premeditated, and he fucking bound her. And then he premeditatedly murdered his son and then committed suicide.
Okay, so, on my final thought?
Mm-hmm. Please.
I think that the severe CTE that he had from years of wrestling and taking chair shots to the head and doing fucking diving headbutts and all that stuff.
And 25 years of steroids.
Contributed more so the CTE stuff, because I don't really know what impact the steroids would have.
All I know is that 25 years can't be good.
CTE has. And I think that completely fucked him up in the head, no doubt. And I think that led to him kind of essentially going crazy and making these decisions. But at the same time, I think that in the moment, he was still making decisions, and he decided to kill his wife, and he decided to kill his child, and he decided to commit suicide, and he wanted the most painless way to die, making conscious decisions, and he made conscious decisions to contact people and essentially try to throw them off the path of what he was doing. And for all of those reasons, despite the fact that CTE made him fucking crazy, no sympathy whatsoever for Chris Benoit, and I think he's a total piece of shit.
Oh, I mean, we differ on what we think, but all the latter, oh, yeah. Rest in peace, Nancy and Daniel, but, like, fuck Chris Benoit in every fucking orifice. Like, deserves not a thing of sympathy. Deserves, no, I don't care. All the accolades he had in wrestling, let them disappear. They don't matter anymore. Sorry. I really wish, as a Benoit fan when he was a wrestler, that this didn't happen. But to ignore that it did is foolish and ignorant. BG?
What you said at the end there was exactly what I was going to say. As far as I just wish it didn't happen. It was, and still is, extremely heart fucking breaking. I mean, I just remember it so vividly of that time in my life of, like you said, being a Chris Benoit fan, being a big fan of his and following his career for so long, and then this happens, and you don't know, and we're young, right? We don't know really how to wrap our heads around that, especially when it first comes out, and then the days after, and the weeks after, and months after, of all the information that comes out about the case, about what he was going through, and their backstory. Again, it's just it's an awful, awful tragedy, and I just wish it never happened.
Yeah. So does Daniel and Nancy. I kept my Chris Benoit shirt because some sick bastard's eventually going to buy the shit out of it someday. You agree?
So you kind of profit off the murder of this.
I mean, I'm not wrong, right? Somebody's going to.
I think you're keeping it because deep down.
You
think Chris Benoit is fucking
let's go on his music because he's a fucking piece of shit coward. But the music was good. Like the band, I remember I actually read an interview with the band that did that song. Right? You know what they said? We can't play that fucking song anymore. It's real life.
That's a great fucking song.
I know it sucks, man. But yeah, he murdered his family. Okay, this is the truth. I gotta be honest here for just a second. Attention Horror is gonna be taking a break. We did Attention Horrors because we thought we had some people at Spreaker who were gonna fucking help us get to the point where it could make some money and benefit us because we spent so much time doing it. I spent about 25-30 hours doing this episode. And while I love doing it, Carling is amazing. Carling Bryce is an amazing person. Thank you so much for not yelling at me for taking as long as I did. But I did a ton of work on this episode. I know, but I did a ton of work on this episode, and I don't half-ass these episodes. This is all I have. It's my whole fucking body and heart and soul is in this. So I can't half-ass these. So, but it's also a lot of time. So I think that I'm going to take a little break from this for a while. So I'm sorry if you had plans to donate for one, and if you'd like to donate one, please reach out to me. Just know that I will be turning topics down because if it's too. Chris Benoit took a lot out of me, emotionally and mentally, because it's just a rough subject, especially at this time. But yeah, I love everybody who's ever supported Attention Horrors. Thank you so much. This is a project that was all I ever had, and I'm sorry that it didn't pan out. But you know what? We're still around. We still do Ring Rust Radio, so if you're listening to this for the first time and you just want to check us out, we're still doing Ring Rust Radio, at Ring Rust Radio on Twitter too. Just follow us, see what we are and what we do. And thank you to everybody who fucking listens to this. And if you're a millionaire and you want to give us a show, like, come on, fucking give us that shit. But I gotta give a shout out to Mike Chiari and Brandon Galvin for dealing with me throughout this entire process. I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for going along with this project. I know it failed, but from the bottom of my heart, it shouldn't have because the content was always great.
You murdered my ambition.
Thank you.
I gotta tell you something. Going into this, you running point. I always knew failure was the most likely end point.
That's true.
You know, it was a hell of a ride.
It was, and we did a hell of a good job doing it. And we've had a lot of people from academia actually asking me fucking sources to things and stuff like that. So I appreciate people still looking at us as we are experts on this topic, because we're not. And you're wrong. But we did a lot of research, and we appreciate you for that. But we tried really hard. I just want to also thank graphic designer Daniel Hayden, director of music Elijah Easybeat Procasio, and research assistant Ron Montan, because without them, none of this would have been possible. And you know what, guys? We usually say, and we're here to stay, but I don't know if we're ever coming back. So I'll say this. Thank you very much, and please stay safe.